Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be doing our content predictions. Well, my content predictions for this weekend here in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM. Now, this weekend, apparently, it looks like is not going to feature any sort of next content or NBA draft content for this year with guys like Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper and VJ Edgecombe, Ace Bailey, etc. Little bit surprising. I got to be totally honest. I kind of expected that we were going to be getting, it's more than a little bit surprising. It's a lot surprising, but I made a whole video talking about that last night. I also made a video earlier in the day yesterday talking about next content. So we don't need to focus on that in this video, but with that being said, I guess I'm predicting content that isn't next content, which makes me think it's probably just going to be in line with what we've been getting in general the past couple seasons, which is these random, mostly not themed drops besides this #1 picks drop they did last weekend. I don't think they're going to do another one of those. I think that was because of the NBA Draft Festival and because of the draft week happening. So good chance we just, I mean, the finals are over, so nothing champion related, like no NBA final type stuff, I don't think. It's just probably going to be just a regular drop, which means you're getting, I mean, if it's anything like last week, 500 overalls, 4 dark matters, 4 opals, and what was it, 3 invincibles and 2 goat cards, 4 or 5 invincibles, however many invincibles it might have been like 5 invincibles last weekend. Actually wasn't it, because it was Ben Simmons, James Worthy, Chris Webber, Patrick Ewing, and wasn't there one more, Anthony Edwards. Okay, yeah, so maybe we'll just get that much content. Who really knows? But that being said, at this point, everything 100 under overall and lower is cheap. Besides like a Wimby, like 100 overall, pretty much. For the most part, though, almost every single card 100 overall and lower is going to be relatively affordable. So my first initial request for this content drop is that we get somebody like Delano Banton, Dyson Daniels, somebody similar, even an out of position player, someone who's 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" at the point guard position and is elite defensively, but has good offense as well. At this point in the year, they could absolutely give us a dark matter or 100 overall Dyson Daniels, a dark matter Delano Banton, and soup up their SIGs and make them really, really good. I don't see why not. We've gotten even amazing Galaxy Opals as of late. They could make an incredible Galaxy Opal Delano Banton with really good SIGs. Like, I would love to see something like that. We just need to see a tall point guard, because as good as SGA is, I do think for the most part, Invincible SGA is a great card. People's best attainable point guards who have size to compete with these Ben Simmons, Nikola Jokic type cards, LeBron, Magic, etc. at point guard are your, I mean, Denny Avdia and Andrew Bogut. Like, at this point, I like Denny Avdia a lot, but I'd love to have a Denny Avdia-esque card that could actually put the ball on the floor and compete in that aspect as well. And I think the point guard position is definitely the weakest in terms of attainable cards. That and kind of the center position, but the center position has options. They might be kind of expensive, but a Taco Fall, a Rick Spitz, a Victor Wembanyama, even a Mark Eaton, obviously Dikembe could play center and be super solid, dark matter Kareem, etc. Like, the point guard position just doesn't have that. You have Invincible Shea for free if you did the 20-something plus hour grind. You have Opal Denny, Opal Bogut with size, and you have a bunch of like fine but not insane 100 overall and dark matter point guards that are all like 6'6". At the end of the day, that's my #1 request for this drop, absolutely, before anything else. Now, outside of that, I still think I'd love to see a Danny Ferry, a Jonathan Bender. 2K obviously dropped a couple of spectacular small forwards in last weekend's drop. Well, actually, they dropped multiple spectacular small forwards in last weekend's drop. Obviously, Kenyon Martin from the festival, who's awesome. But also on top of Kenyon Martin, they dropped just in packs Danny Manning, who's really good, Elton Brand, who's a stud, Joe Smith, who's awesome, and Purvis Ellison, who's 5K and has the SIGs of an Invincible card. Like, 2K absolutely cooked with the small forward position last weekend, but what's one more? Let's get a dark matter Jonathan Bender. Let's get a dark matter Danny Ferry, maybe 100 overalls. Let's get good cards. Let's get guys who are going to be relatively affordable, who are elite level cards. Give people options to use cards that can compete against the very best cards in the game. And the more options you have, the better, because then it becomes your team. It's my team. You know what I mean? And I just think the more elite options at this point in the year, it's June 26th. Every card coming out should be elite. They did a really good job of that last weekend with this NBA draft #1 pick set. Pretty much every single card in this set is at least usable. They're all solid. That's what we need to see. You know what I mean? And so I think it'd be nice to get another big. I'd be very happy with a dark matter Manute Bol, Sean Bradley, George Marason. Like, the more good cards we have, the more options we have, the better. when it comes to playing the game in a more attainable fashion. So that's my number one request. Now, when we get to the Invincibles, I think that's where it gets a lot more. Sure, a couple of them are going to be decently affordable. That is becoming true, especially if they're going to drop as many Invincibles as they are now. Guys are eventually going to become somewhat affordable. I mean, Patrick Ewing looks like he's still over 500K. Anthony Edwards is 600K. They're not cheap by any means, but they're getting more affordable overall. And so hopefully we get some good Invincibles this week that'll continue that trend. You know, I mean, as long as they're all good, I don't really care who they are. I think you could really kind of go through and go down the list at this point of guys who might have 100 overall cards or dark matter cards, but haven't gotten higher tier options at this point. And I feel like there's plenty of those guys. It's almost hard to narrow down. Anybody from season 6 or before, like a Terry Dishinger feels like a really logical name to me to get an Invincible card. Bobo got 100 overall already. We could see 100 overall Terry. I wouldn't be shocked to see an Invincible version of him either, though, to be totally honest. The same could be said for like a Stephon Castle. The NBA draft just happened. Castle's a second-year player. Why not? Let's get 100 overall. Let's get an Invincible Stephon Castle. He fits that attainable point guard, tall point guard mold as well. He'd be a cool card to get, etc., etc. Manu Ginobili was a great dark matter. Why not an Invincible Manu? That makes sense. He's gotten top tier cards before. Michael Beasley hasn't gotten an Invincible. I could totally see an Invincible Beasley that's finally shooting guard eligible. Like, there are so many options that 2K has of cards that they've dropped already this year, and even guys who maybe they haven't. Like a Dark Matter Danny Granger is a name who pops into my mind. That'd be a good card. Like a Invincible Danny Granger, a 100 overall or Invincible Alex Sarr, a 100 overall John Morant may not be that exciting because he's a small PG, but why not? Let's get a Andre Kirilenko or a Luol Deng Invincible 100 overall, whatever. Like, I would think there are a lot of options that 2K has to work with from cards that came out in season 6, season 5, etc., that haven't gotten newer cards, because there are a lot of those guys. With that being said, I will say, when it comes to the GOAT cards, that's a much smaller pool of cards to pull from. And I do think there are a couple names that haven't gotten upgrades in quite a while that feel like they make a lot of sense to me as GOAT cards. If you go look at all the 100 overalls that 2K's dropped this year, all the big names, the KP, the MJ, the Shaq, the Luka, the Chris Webber, the Devin Booker, every single one of these guys has a new card. You know who doesn't? Penny Hardaway. I feel like a GOAT Penny Hardaway makes a lot of sense this weekend. His 100 overall is not that good anymore. And he's a big name, decently tall point guard who, again, probably makes 2K a little bit of money. Maybe not the most exciting card in the world at this point, but he hasn't gotten a card. At a very minimum, I would expect an Invincible Penny Hardaway this weekend. A GOAT Penny Hardaway would not surprise me at all. And then also in Season 6, another 100 overall who hasn't got a new card. Sure, these guys, besides Ewing and Oscar, haven't gotten new cards. I don't think it's going to be any of these guys. Oh, Worthy already got a new card as well. Maybe we get Invincible Dwight, Invincible Clyde Drexler soon, who knows. But the name that stands out to me above all as needing a GOAT card is Larry Bird, one of the greatest players of all time. His 100 overall was a hit, really good card. He makes a lot of sense. I know he got a card, 6 weeks ago, but it makes sense. And 2K's dropping the same guys at this point. They're kind of recycling their big names. And whether you like it or not, that's kind of what they're doing. And I feel like a GOAT Larry Bird makes a ton of sense this weekend. Absolute legend, maybe the greatest small forward, or the second or third greatest small forward of all time. He's not LeBron, but he's spectacular. So I absolutely could see a Larry Bird card, and we'll see. But that is my prediction. GOAT Penny Hardaway, GOAT Larry Bird. That being said, y'all let me know in the comment section down below who you think is going to get a card this weekend. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.